The Death of Ånone by Alfred. Lord Tennyson. Ånone sat within the cave from out whose ivy-matted mouth she used to gaze down at the Troad. But the goodly view was now one blank, and all the serpent vines which on the touch of heavenly feet had risen, and gliding through the branches over-boweríd the naked throí, were withered long ago, and through the sunless winter morning mist in silence wept upon the flowerless earth. And while she stared at those dead chords that ran dark through the mist, and linking tree to tree, but once were gayer than a dawning sky with many a pendent bell and fragrant star, her past became her present, and she saw him, climbing toward her with the golden fruit, him, happy to be chosen judge of gods, her husband in the flush of youth. And dawn, Paris, himself as beauteous as a god. Anon from out the long ravine below, she heard a wailing cry, that seemed at first thin as the bat-like shrillings of the dead when driven to Hades, but, in coming near, across the downward thunder of the brook sounded ånone, and on a sudden he, Paris, no longer beauteous as a god, struck by a poisoned arrow in the fight, lame, crooked, reeling, livid, through the mist rose, like the wraith of his dead self, and moaned ånone, my ånone, while we dwelt together in this valley. O happy Theno, too happy had I died within thine arms, before the feud of gods had marred our peace, and sundered each from each. I am dying now, pierced by a poisoned dart. Save me. Thou knowest, taught by some god, whatever herb or balm may clear the blood from poison, and thy fame is blown through all the Troad, and to thee the shepherd brings his adder-bitten lamb, the wounded warrior climbs from Troy to thee. My life and death are in thy hand. The gods avenge on stony hearts a fruitless prayer for pity. Let me owe my life to thee. I wrought thee bitter wrong, but thou forgive, forget it. Man is but the slave of fate. Ånone, by thy love which once was mine, help, heal me. I am poisoned to the heart. Aenita mine, she said, ye adulterer, go back to thine adulteress and die. He groaned, he turned, and in the mist at once became a shadow, sank and disappeared. But, ere the mountain rolls into the plain, fell headlong dead, and of the shepherds one their oldest, and the same who first had found Paris, a naked babe, among the woods of Ida, following lighted on him there, and shouted, and the shepherds heard and came. One raised the prince, one sleeked the squalid hair, one kissed his hand, another closed his eyes, and then, remembering the gay playmate reared among them, and forgetful of the man, whose crime had half unpeopled Ilion, these all that day long labored, hewing the pines, and built their shepherd prince a funeral pile, and, while the star of eve was drawing light from the dead sun, kindled the pyre, and all stood round it, hashid, or calling on his name. But when the white fog vanished like a ghost before the day, and every topmost pine spurred into bluest heaven, still in her cave, amazed, and ever seeming stared upon by ghastlier than the Gorgon head, a face, his face deformed by lurid blotch and blano there, like a creature frozen to the heart beyond all hope of warmth, Ånone sat not moving, till in front of that ravine which drowsed in gloom, self-darkened from the west, the sunset blazed along the wall of Troy. Then her head sank, she slept, and through her dream a ghostly murmur floated, Ecome to me, Ånone. I can wrong thee now no more, Ånone, my Ånone. I in the dream wailed in her, when she woke beneath the stars. What star old burned so low? Not Ilion yet. What light was there? She rose and slowly down, by the long torrentous ever deepened roar, paced, following, as in trance, the silent cry. She waked a bird of prey that screamed and passed, she roused a snake that hissing writhed away. A panther sprang across her path, she heard the shriek of some lost life among the pines, but when she gained the broader vale, and saw the ring of faces reddened by the flames enfolding that dark body which had lain of old in her embrace, paused and then asked falteringly, You lies on yonder pyre? Aye, but every man was mute for reverence. Then, moving quickly forward till the heat smote on her brow, she lifted up a voice of shrill command, You burns upon the pyre. I whereon their oldest and their boldest said, Ehe, whom thou wouldst not heal. I and all at once the morning light of happy marriage broke through all the clouded years of widowhood, and muffling up her comely head, and crying husband, she leapt upon the funeral pile, and mixed herself with him and passed in fire.